So in tonight's video, we're going to be going over the top 3 options, continuing the top 3 options series. In terms of the last video of this series, it was posted on Monday where I explained to you the #1 options pick was going to be Tesla call options. Tesla call options did end up going up over 1000% if you went further out of the money and ended up swing trading them inside of Team Roar. Every single day last week, including Friday, we had a 100% plus profit return on Tesla options. With that being said, we're going to get straight into the newly updated price action analysis. So in terms of the overall market, based off of what I'm seeing here, I'm going to be breaking it down by the weekly chart. Then we're going to go into the daily chart. Then we're going to go into the intraday overall chart, right? So let's get straight into it. So based off of the weekly candlestick, it is saying that we can potentially spike into this week, and it's likely going to have a short-term bottom, and there's likely going to be phenomenal dip buying opportunities to be buying call options on the dip, along with using the break and retest strategy. When SPY breaks above a key resistance level, once it drops back down to that previous resistance level, look for a bullish 30-minute confirmation to react to support and then buy call options on the dip. With that being said, in terms of what I'm seeing on the overall weekly chart, this is what it looks like to me. You have a slanted downtrend, you have a slanted downtrend, and then this red candlestick, if you look at exactly how it looks compared to this red candlestick right here, it looks identical. And then you can see in terms of the next week, it ended up gapping up and closing very strong on the overall week. So based off of the overall weekly chart, SPY is setting up and looking bullish. We do also have a gap that is waiting to fill above at 564. Now, in terms of the overall daily chart, I am seeing bullish daily patterns as well. So if we take a look at the daily chart, this is what it looks like to me. You can see right here, we have this green trend reversal candlestick. We have this green trend reversal candlestick. We have this green trend reversal candlestick. Then you have this overall red bearish candlestick. Then you have this red bearish candlestick. Then you have this red bearish candlestick. And then in terms of what happens after it forms that red bearish candlestick, you can see the next day it gaps up and it closes strong. The next day it gaps up and it closes strong. Now, heading into extended hours, we are currently experiencing a gap up on the SPY. So I'm going to break this down to you. I'm going to go over the 30-day, 30-minute chart, and I'm going to explain to you in terms of what it is that we're looking at, right? So in terms of the overall SPY, we are gapping up, which is beginning to confirm a signal, a confirmation that it could potentially have that bullish, strong closing overall daily pattern that I just walked you through, right? So we ended up closing at 540.36. Right now we're at 541.51. With that being said, the strong point that I want to make within this overall video is if we do end up opening up higher than the previous closing price, if we're gapping up above 540.36, based off the daily chart and based off the overall weekly chart, it is going to be a phenomenal dip buying opportunity to be buying call options using the unique trading strategies that I teach you within these overall videos. So with that being said, if we are gapping up, these are going to be the levels where I'm going to be interested in buying call options. The first level is going to be the previous closing price, 540.36. Based off the daily pattern and based off the weekly chart, it is saying if we do end up gapping up heading into tomorrow, that it's not going to drop back to that previous closing price. But remember, history is going to repeat itself in similar cycles, so it might drop back down to previous closing price, but there is going to be higher levels of interest that I'm willing to buy call options if we do gap up, if I'm seeing bullish 30-minute confirmations. So in terms of those overall higher levels that I want to bring some awareness to, it's going to be this 541.50, 541.50 to 542.50 overall zone, right? And then in terms of a very overall special zone that you need to be aware of, it's that overall gap zone. So in terms of this overall level, I'm going to disable extended hours and I'm going to show you exactly what it is that I'm looking at. So in terms of the overall level, this is what I want you to be aware of in terms of massive moves to occur. If we can get a break above 544, we're going to have a strong bullish breakout to this like 548 overall level, right? So in terms of the levels, previous closing price, dip buying opportunity if we gap up, 540.36. In terms of the resistance channel, this is going to be the first resistance channel. We're going to be looking to buy calls if we get a breakout and then a bullish 30-minute confirmation towards this overall zone, 541.50 to 542.50. And then if that can react to support, we're going to be heading up to 545. If we can turn 544 into overall support and break above that, the SPY will be on track for 549 heading into this week. Those are going to be the overall levels in terms of the bullish thesis, right? So in terms of the crazy breakout level, it's truly going to be above that 544. The early breakout resistance is going to be at 541.50 to 542.50. That's the game plan if we do end up gapping up. Just to bring some more awareness to this overall chart, man, just looking at the 1 minute chart alone, I'm seeing bullish overall patterns where it is going to try to attempt to retest this overall 548 zone, man. I'm going to show you the extended hours. This is in terms of what I was looking at, man. I believe it was on the 30-minute chart and the 5-minute chart. So yeah, based off of what I'm seeing, man, this is giving us all the reasons for a retest into this like 547 overall range to 548 overall range. So heading into the week, if we do gap up, I'm extremely bullish on the SPY for a move later into this week towards that 548 zone. And I gave you the overall levels to look for, right? So to truly begin to reverse this trend back to bullish for the micro, we need to hold above this 542 level. If we can do that, we're going to be on track for a move to 548 to 549, right? Now, in terms of some key resistance levels, just to keep an eye on in terms of the SPY, you can keep an eye on that 550 to 551. But like I said, if we're gapping up heading to this week, I'm going to be extremely focused on dip buying call options, man. And then in terms of the breakout, wait for it to break above those resistance levels. Once it retests and drops back down, going to be interested in buying the dip, buying the overall support on the SPY. Now, in terms of bearish situations, let's say that we're not gapping up and we are reacting bearish. If we go under 540, the next level is going to be this level right here, 536.45. It's very likely that we keep on bouncing around this overall zone, man. I'm telling you, the last time SPY had that gap breakdown overall level, remember it was at 549. For those of you who've been watching the videos, 549 was that overall level it bounced several times at. We have a new gap breakdown level, and if you look, it already bounced during extended hours trading session. It bottomed at 537.86. Now it's having a gap up. So with that being said, in terms of a dip buying level, if we are flipping bearish, I would be very interested in dip buying call options as it can bounce at this level a couple of times before cracking at this 536.30 to 537.30 overall zone for a nice scalp to 539 to 540. Now, the next level below 536.30 is going to be the gap that's waiting to fill below at 533. That's going to be your make or break support. If you're seeing a bullish daily candlestick on the SPY, then it's going to be a good dip buying opportunity for a swing trade, overall trade, right? And just keep an eye on 533 if we do flip bearish, because it could be a good support level to overall buy the dip on SPY. Now, that is going to be the overall analysis, right? On the SPY in terms of the levels and the game plan in terms of what it is that I'm going to be looking at heading into tomorrow. Now, in terms of Friday, man, if you looked at the overall chart, you can see that the previous closing price was reacting as red bearish 30-minute confirmations, and it was nothing but red bearish 30-minute confirmations. So again, sometimes I will have a strong opinion on some of the levels, whether I'm bullish or bearish, right? But I use confirmations. If you're getting all these red bearish 30-minute confirmations, red bearish 30-minute confirmations, red bearish 30-minute confirmations at these key levels that could potentially be bullish, there's no reason to be buying call options, man. That's why you guys have to understand. In certain situations, I will have a strong bias or a strong opinion at a particular level, whether I'm bullish or bearish on, but that doesn't mean that I'm buying calls or puts. I'm actually trading the chart. Just because a level I'm considered bullish, right? I might buy put options at an overall bullish level if there's a bearish confirmation, right? So just keep that in mind for those of you who are new to the channel. You have to understand, man, we're actually trading. We're not just giving out opinions at levels and then just blindly trading a bias or an opinion. In certain situations, I will have strong opinions, like in terms of tomorrow, like I said, if we gap up, I have a very strong bias, a very strong opinion that we're going to have a bullish overall day, right? But I'm going to trade the chart and I'm going to trade what I'm seeing on the overall chart with the confirmations. I'm not just going to blindly trade a bias or an opinion. I'm going to wait for the proper confirmations with my levels. And it gets more advanced, man. Certain situations, if I have a level I'm bullish on and it's reacting bearish, I won't buy put options. And then other situations, I will buy put options. It gets more advanced in terms of dissecting, the chart, the market structure, the supply and demand. It gets a lot more advanced, man. But I just want to make sure you guys understand in terms of how you can use these videos. So like I said, man, gap up should be a very strong bullish overall closing day. Look for the bullish 30-minute confirmations at the levels that I gave you. And tomorrow should be a phenomenal green day if you utilize that information properly, right? But In terms of overall bearish recognition, man, it was just a lot of bearish 30-minute confirmations out the gate. You had a red bearish 30-minute confirmation at previous closing price. You had a red bearish 30-minute confirmation at previous closing price. Previous support reacts as a resistance. Previous support reacts as a resistance. Big green candle, and then it starts to sell off. A lot of similarities, man. So if you're using the 10-day, 30-minute chart in terms of what it is that I'm teaching you with these levels, you should be doing absolutely phenomenal in terms of the overall trade, man. But with that being said, man, let's get into it. So in terms of our next stock, it's going to be NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a very interesting setup here on the daily chart. In terms of this one, man, it's going to be call options if we can break above this 104.50 level, man. If we could break above 104.50, there's a wick to test here at 113. A break above 104.50 to react to support will send the video flying. Look for a breakout. When it retests, look for the bullish 30-minute confirmations. That's going to be the level to be buying call options on NVIDIA. That'd be the game plan for that one. In terms of DJT, the overall volume is extremely light. We're just sitting at the gap. The gap filled at 1730. It's not doing too much. It formed a red, green, red pattern on the overall daily. For this one, just wait until it spikes above 1740. Once we start spiking above 1740, that's when it's going to be a good opportunity to start buying this up. And look for a spike in volume as well, along with the price. So look for a break above 1740. Once it reacts to support, then you can look to be buying call options. Keep an eye on DJT. Now, Abercrombie and Finch. This one is going to be a phenomenal setup, man. Keep an eye on this one. We are at a gap right here. You can see in terms of this overall situation, we are at a gap that is waiting to fill below at 131.50, right? So the gap filled, and there's no signs of a confirmation yet. But on the first green day, buy call options, man. If we are spiking, if we are gapping up heading into tomorrow, you're going to want to buy call options. It's due for a bounce. It's due for a dip. Look for bullish 30-minute confirmations above that 132 level, right? So that's the overall game plans. In terms of Tesla, man, you guys should have crushed it in terms of the Tesla play. Like I said, man, I literally gave you the exact blueprint for call options. And in terms of the profit targets, I told you the gap at 220, and then the next gap that's waiting to fill above at 231, which is exactly where it topped and where it reversed. Now, this is going to be a very similar, identical setup to SPY. It's got the same daily candlestick, and we are at key support, man. It had such an oversold sell-off on Friday. Take a look, man. This is what I want you to pay attention to heading into Monday for Tesla stock, man. If we are gapping up, you're going to want to be buying call options into the open, man. Look for a strong opportunity to buy call options. This red bearish candlestick is identical to this red bearish candlestick. It's even more oversold. We are due for a bounce. So if Tesla is gapping up heading into tomorrow, you're going to want to be looking to buy call options at the gate. So the main game plan is if we are gapping up, look to potentially buy call options on the gate for SPY, for Tesla. Look for 30-minute confirmations on dips towards those levels that I gave you to be buying on Tesla and SPY. So in terms of a level to keep an eye on for Tesla, you can see we're having a small gap up here. For a true shift in an overall trend reversal for the bulls to take control, look for a break above 213.40. A break above 213.40 to react as support. If that can occur with the gap up, is likely going to have a very strong bullish trend day to 220 to 222 resistance zone, right? So you can leave some runners. If we're having this gap up play that I keep on talking about for a gap and go, you can leave some runners towards the close, sell into big moves at key resistance levels, right? That I gave you, and set profit stops. Set profit stops. Ensure you do not go, ensure you do not go green to red on the overall trade, man. In terms of SPY, Friday was not our greatest day, but it wasn't our worst day. It was a decent day. I went 6 for 8. G-War had a couple wins as well. He absolutely killed it on Tesla. We went 4 for 4 last week on Tesla. Every single morning we traded Tesla, and it was a 100% plus profit return. And if you were to hold them, it would have been a 1,000% plus gain. But in terms of SPY, I did end up buying call options directly at market open following the game plan. When I bought those call options, they went up 50% within a couple minutes, man. We had members close out the position. They made over, one member made a little bit over $3,000. And then we had other members, they didn't set profit stops, So just keep in mind, guys, when you are trading early in the morning and you are up like 40%, very, very quickly, it is wise to set a profit stop, and then you can also leave some runners to run. But just keep that in mind, man, because the Tesla calls that I alerted, they went up 50% within a couple minutes. I chose to hold my position, but that's my choice. You guys have to be self-sufficient and trade in a sense. But like I said, man, if you set those profit stops, you're up 40%, then you're not going to go green to red on the overall trade. But that was simply just trying to follow the game plan that I ended up posting. But we did have members close out the position. They absolutely crushed it and made a couple $1,000s on those. And then we had other members, they held it and it ended up being a loss. It is what it is. But I went 6 for 8 on Friday. And overall, it was a decent day. Like I said, it wasn't our best day. But with that being said, man, for those of you who are interested in being part of our secured private organization, it is going to be the first link down below within the description. We are absolutely going to crush it heading into this week, man. I'm telling you, the setups that we have aligned, along with the overall market's volatility and price action, I'm seeing phenomenal opportunities heading into this week, man. So if you do want to trade 0-to-8 options alongside with us, we buy cheap, far out of the money, low risk options. We are known for selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. And we are known for going out 3 to 5 legs, 3 to 5 strikes out plus, and we're known for selling them in the money for the biggest percentage gains, man. And in terms of the 0-to-8 options trading alert system that we've created, just to give you some background to the overall system, we do not use stop losses in terms of our max risk per trade. That's the entire value of what we're putting into the contracts, right? So typically the contracts are going to be below 50 cents a contract. And if you can't afford to risk that, then do not trade. Trading is not for you. So we're putting in our max risk per trade to the contracts. We're letting them expire worthless for the vast majority of the times. And in terms of the overall, in terms of the overall edge to the system that we have, is very simple. We add to winners and then we set profit stops. When we're up a little bit, like 10, 15%, we like to add to winners, because when we're up a small amount, like 10, 15%, yes, for us, that's a small amount because we're buying cheap, far out of money option contracts. We're holding our trades for longer periods of time and we're selling them in the money. So 10, 15% return, very small amount for us. And with that being said, we are known for winning big. So when we get a winning confirmation, when we're up a little bit, we will typically add to the winners to increase the winnings. And then one small move in our favor, we set the profit stop. It's going to secure our profits and it's going to prevent us from going green to red. It's going to protect our new average cost as we're increasing our winning. And then we sell into the moves or we get stopped out for overall profits, and you can also leave runners. That's just some background to the overall system. So for those of you who do want to trade alongside with us, it's going to be the first link down below within the description. We have a 90% plus success rate doing this, and I would highly recommend that you try out the program. It's going to be the first link down below within the description. With that being said, we're going to absolutely crush it this week. I will see you guys tomorrow within the chat.